Hey, I know what your problem is. You're pretty confident with riding, but you're having a hard time actually getting on the unicycle. In my experience, being able to ride a unicycle comes before being able to actually get on the unicycle, which is kind of counterintuitive. But there are things that can help you. One being this weird circular device. Now, I made another video before about the one free tool that you can use to help you unicycling, and it's essentially just a makeshift curb made out of wood. But this is just a prettier version of that. And it's lighter and you can move it around and it looks better. The problem with mounting stems from crank position. Now, I've covered this before, but when you're trying to get on a unicycle and your crank is vertical, you want to put one foot on the bottom pedal to make sure the unicycle doesn't move. It's a stable fixture. But when you're ready to ride, being stable is not advantageous. You actually want to be more mobile because you want to move. When your crank is vertical, it's called the dead zone because it's really hard to move from that position. On the other side, when your crank is horizontal, it's really easy to move because all the force that you push down with gets translated to making the wheel turn. However, getting on from this position is a little bit tricky because it's unstable. When you're mounting, you kind of want the unicycle to be where you think it should be. So controlling where you want the unicycle to be when mounting in a horizontal crank position is a lot more difficult. However, this is best of both worlds. You put your wheel on this black part and you take your pedal and you put it where the pedal should go in a horizontal crank position. And no matter how much you push on the back pedal, it will not go down because the apparatus is preventing it from doing so. If the pedal doesn't go down, the tire won't move backwards. If you're pedaling on the platform, you're essentially going to mount the same way you would if you're doing a unstable free mount. And if you don't know what that is, you can check the video in the top right corner about mounting that I made. So you can take as much time as you need mounting because the apparatus is making the unicycle stable, but also in the most advantageous crank position to get riding. This is fairly easy to make. All it took was a 2 foot by 2 foot piece of plywood that was ½ an inch thick and maybe 36 inches or 3 feet roughly worth of 2x4s, and also some glue and some hardware. This is made for 20-inch wheels, which is the most common unicycle size and the most common unicycle size for beginners. You essentially cut a 20-inch diameter in your plywood, cut the ins and the outsides by 4s, take the outsides and glue them all together to make this inner part where the tire goes. Then you take your 2x4s, cut them 8 inches in length, and cut them all in half. So you'll eventually have 4 2x4s that are cut in half on each side. And then you use your glue or your hardware to put them all together to make it look like this. I made this one with hardware and I made this one with glue and dowels, and they both work well. This is maybe the 3rd or 4th iteration of this apparatus that I've made. I've had a few prototypes that I've tested out with a local Learn to Unicycle class that I've been teaching. Some of the feedback I've gotten so far on this is it's kind of scary if you're standing completely on top of it and it feels uncomfortable and cramped. So make sure to mount it as if you were mounting on flat ground and put your opposite foot on the ground rather than on the opposite platform. The goal for this is being an easy transition between not knowing how to free mount and being able to free mount. This should put you in the most advantageous position to be able to learn how to free mount on your own. Just by looking at this, you can probably figure out how to make it or make something similar, but if you need additional assistance, I do have a work plan available, or I can outright make one for you and ship it to you. If you're interested in either, I put the link in the description below about how to get the work plan or get one outright. So let me know of any other tips, tricks, or objects that you're using to free mount in the comments below. And consider subscribing if you want more unicycle content. Thanks and good luck. And I'm also hoping that if you're learning how to free mount and you get to use this apparatus, it's super helpful. What if you just like
try and ride into that?
You probably could, right?
Don't hit the camera.